It's the one only, the Sputnik, bring you guys another gameplay commentary. This is Elder Scrolls Online, and this is going to be a long video, and this video is going to discuss the current drama that's going on in ESO, and how I don't think it has anything to do with balance. At the onset, you would have thought it had something to do with balance, but in reality it doesn't. And I'll go through my reasons as to why I think it just doesn't have anything to do with balance. It had to do more with notoriety and how they view, and I will be name dropping, right? And how they view, for some reason they view big YouTubers, I guess. King of Games and myself are considered big YouTubers versus them, and then if they somehow got into some kind of interaction with one of us, then that will bring them some level of popularity or some level of, an increase in the amount of, views and subscribers that they get. And they've said this, and it happens, right? But here's the problem with that. It's momentary, right? Players love drama. They love to watch it. They love to find some way to get involved in drama. And ultimately, it's like a basket of like deplorables. We're all in this one bunch. And just go take a look at the comment section of what's been going on for close to 3 weeks. And what I just said will surely be backed up by what you read in the comment section. So let's talk about, and I'll talk about a few people. Let's first I'll talk about Toxic, I'll talk about Victor, I'll talk about Abyss. And then I'll talk about a few other people and how my interaction has been with these particular people. Even though I've never initiated any of those things at all. Like, my overall goal is just, like I said, I play solo, and I've continued to do so. But let's start talking about Toxic. So most of you might not know this, but for months now, Toxic has been like throwing jabs in the comment section of almost all of my videos, not all, but a few of my videos. And when I was playing Stam DK, at that time you'll see him just throw jabs like, well, heavy is carry, red guard is carry. You'll see this, and I tend to just ignore it because, look, if it was up to players, they would want me to be butt naked and with a broom 1vxing in Cyrodiil, because that will put me at such a severe disadvantage, and it will prove their overall theory that I am a scrub. Yeah, that's what they want. I must not use anything that gives me an advantage, even though I'm in an outnumbered situation. All right, but that's neither here nor there. So let's continue. This person has been throwing jabs, and I notice it, and I have the comments, but I'm too lazy to go in and take a snippet and do all those things. Just go ahead and take a look, and you'll see. And I've commented to the person, because I said, come on, man, it's probably just some young dude, he plays ESO and he enjoys it, and he just wants to throw jabs. I just tend to ignore it. But one time he said, he's getting tired of this game, and I took it seriously, right? I said, well, if you're not enjoying this game, then what you need to do is take a break. Take a break. That's what I responded to him. I said, take a break, man, and come back to it when you feel better. That's what I said. I said that months ago. And then I saw a video from This Is Me where it's like Toxic Nebula has been exposed. So that's the only time I ever, I knew this person had like a YouTube channel. So I went ahead and checked it out, and what I saw was very surprising. This person's channel is the embodiment of negativity. right? And then I noticed, well, this person just lives for this. And that's why it's so strange now. This person is the messenger for balance, when in fact, I don't think this person cares about balance, because if he did, you wouldn't see emote glitching. You wouldn't see Destro alt. You wouldn't see these massive groups just plowing through people. And I don't have an issue with that. I've never commented. I've only commented prior to this, whatever you guys want to call it, drama and Toxic Nebula's channel, one time, because I'm of that opinion. If you have nothing good to say, don't say it. Right? Just keep it to yourself. But and my comment was, I saw a Nightblade video, and the guy is playing. He's walking players down, and that's the way I play. And I'm like, great. It's amazing. Not to mention that with the change to shuffle, it's no longer that difficult. It's a lot easier now for a Nightblade, because a lot of players are not in heavy. The only kind of counter to a Nightblade is a Magicka Templar, because they pretty much can cleanse. They still can wear heavy. They still have access to cleansing snares and things of that nature. So, but then, but let's get back. And I posted a video, because I've posted countless videos about balance in ESO. Countless videos, right? My channel has content. I've said, I've shown you guys my progression, the classes I play in a solo fashion. I show you how I peel through damage. I show you all of these things. When I was a red guard, they said it was a carry. When I was a DK, they said it was a carry. The only time they've not really mentioned that it was a carry is when I was playing Nightblade. Like, for some reason, Nightblade is the universal equalizer. You get zero kind of issues from anyone who plays it. You don't, the population, the ESO PvP population, they're in love with Nightblades, right? So I didn't really get too many issues. And at that time, I was the only player, with an exception of maybe one player, and he said he got the build for me, rocking an Argonian stamina, heavy armor Nightblade, right? That was doing the proc sets. And I just want to mention, I've only used one proc set in my entire ESO career, and that's after the Wrath passive, right? I've only recently started playing Magicka Templar. It's just that people now know me for Magicka Templar like they knew me for Stamina DK, because I was doing something on a Magicka DK, on a Stamina DK, that other players weren't doing. I'm doing something on a Magicka Templar that most players can't do solo. And so that's why people are now saying, well, he plays Magicka Templar. And if you've been a long time subscriber to my channel, you will realize that I play a myriad of classes, and I play them well. I posted a video of a red guard, bone pirate, hulking, because I've had hulking a long time. I posted that video, and that video is the personification of what a 1vx clip should be, right? It shows the progression. It shows you choosing when to burst, when not to, when to be defensive, how long you should hold your rally. You saw some of the rallies that I procced. I was holding them. I knew how long I had, when to use your vigor, when to, go into cloak to be offensive, not to be defensive. That video says everything. And was it a copy of Toxic Nebula's video? Absolutely. What I wanted to show is the contrast between something that has zero content and an actual clip that shows what a 1vx is, right? Because players will look at a video and they see the flashiness of it, but then they can't replicate it because it's not something that can be done. You do not see these players. Anything that I do in ESO if you follow my steps and you follow the things that I do, because I spend time trying to be as in-depth as possible, then you can replicate it with your own slice and your own play style. You can absolutely do that. But in his videos, you can't. You cannot replicate it, right? And there's so many mistakes that you notice. And I'll try my best not to mention that, because that's not how I am. That's not my thing. But let's continue. And I've shown my content and my progression so people can see quality. If you go and you take a look at his channel, all you see is expose this, expose that, and it's just it's a breeding ground for negativity, right? And at the end of the day, that stuff does not, in the long term, it's not beneficial to anyone. Yes, you get this momentary jump. Yes, you get people gravitating to your channel and saying things. But in the long run, when someone is out there in Cyrodiil and they really want to know how they can do something, they're not coming to your channel. They're not going there. They're coming to my channel. They might go to King of Games channel. They might go to players' channels who explain things and give you a sense of, hey, you can do this based on your playstyle and how you approach things. But if you see these flashy one and bam and what have you kind of stuff going on, yeah, that's great for the moment, but in the long term, it won't be beneficial to anyone. And like I said, if Toxic really wanted to focus on balance, then he would show his slice of what's going on, right? But that's not the case. If you look at his body of work, or the lack thereof, you'll notice that there's nothing there but just negativity, and there's no genuine approach to balance. Balance is only seen in as long as it's beneficial to a single individual, and that in fact is not balance, right? So and of course people will counter and say, well, that's not the reason. The reason is because we're focused on. They're not focused on balance, man. They're focused on notoriety and tit for tat and so on and so forth. That's why when I went into if you just look at some of the blatant lies, right? I invited him into a party to discuss things. That's obviously not the case. I made a video about, because I saw the video he made. I made a video about drama about him, when in fact that video just showed full disclosure to the clips that he just cut up. That should tell you something about players and them just being disingenuous. All right, so that's Toxic. So now you have Victor Hell's Angel. I think that's you have Victor, right? And Victor's channel is similar to Toxic's channel in a sense that, like, drama is what they live off of. Victor, not so much, because he hides under the guise of I'm focused on balance. But let's be honest. I've seen Victor in Cyrodiil, and I've never had any issues. I don't know them. I don't know them. I play by myself. I don't know them. I don't really care to even know them like that. But I've seen him around. He's a solid player from what I've seen. So I went to a party with them, and I would have $20 for if you were to count just for every quarter. If you gave me a quarter for every time you heard AIDS and Zergling out of this individual's mouth, you would have $20 today, because that's all I heard, right? That's 90% of the discussion was about that. And then you guys see what I do, right? I'm in Cyrodiil. I don't even think about that. I don't even use the term Zergling. What I say is massive groups, because it has a negative connotation when the game is in fact supposed to be massive groups, right? I'm playing against the way the game is supposed to play, and I see it for what it is. But these players, it's as if, when you see a hypocrite and they do not understand that they're being hypocritical, These same players are in these massive groups. And look, if you're an 8-man or 12-man group, hey, I call it the way I see it. And you're fighting against these people and you're calling them zerglings and you're saying they have AIDS and that's AIDS. Not they have AIDS, but that's AIDS. Hey, that's fine. And Victor comes to my channel from time to time. He's had disagreements with me about things, but it's never gotten to the level of the way it is now. You know, they've made videos and my name is there, and I don't know how all of a sudden I'm the big YouTuber, man. As far as I'm concerned, there's no big YouTuber for ESO, right? We're just a small community with a lot of toxicity, and that's just how it is. But let's continue. So Victor at least tried to give some ideas about balance. Were they sound ideas? Some of them were, but not to the, if you were to rate them from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like sound, then I would probably give it a 2. Give you a perfect example. In his eyes, you certainly should have no tanks in Citadel. None whatsoever. No tanks. You shouldn't have any healers in Citadel at all. No healers, no tanks. As far as and I'll give you specifics as to what he said. As far as Victor is concerned, you must only have, stamina Templars and stamina light blades. That's all you need, and the occasional magic DK. You can't have any magic Templars. You can't have any wardens, magic or stamina, right? You can't have any stam DKs. Those players are all considered aids, and they shouldn't be in the game. And I'll give you why I made that exaggerated example. He says you should cap. Health should be capped, right? Health should be capped, and that's it. You should just cap health. I'm assuming he meant maybe cap health to 25,000. And so my counter was, cap everything. Do it across the board. No, you can't do that. So let me get this straight. It's okay for players to run around in Citadel with 50k max stamina, but it's not okay for them to walk around with 50k max health? What about 50k max magicka? No, because people were giving magical wardens a big deal because they were running around with necro. How dare you have necro? Your shields are so massive. But no, you can only have, that's what I'm saying. These players are not focused on balance. They're only focused on things that benefit them. Right? And if you look at his channel as well, do you see a body of work? Do you see, and of course players will be like, well, this is only a game. Well, if it's only a game, why are we having this discussion about balance in this kind of way? I made my statement. I have my channel. I continue to do what I do. If people don't like it, they will go someplace else. Your channel is there. They come to your channel, and so on and so forth. But if that, in the ideal world, that would be great. But it's not, because they have no content. There's no content. There's nothing behind it, and they've been uploading for as long as I've been uploading. So just keep that in mind. Zero content or progression in terms of content. You do see the occasional, good clip, but then it's just completely overshadowed by just the AIDS and this is carry, this is so and so, right? You see that, and players do not gravitate to that in the long term, right? They just do not, and it becomes problematic when you come to someone's channel, all you see is AIDS this, cancer this, carry that, expose this, expose that, and in the long run, that just goes to show you that people aren't focused on balance. They're only focused on balance when it comes to this situation, because it gives them kind of, everyone's talking about it. And then, you'll get the occasional people who say, well, this is just a game and let's just leave it alone and ignore this. Yeah, I've never I've never been proactive with contacting anybody. I don't want to deal with you. I don't have to deal with you. I'm cool with King of Games because I consider King of Games similar to what I upload. Look at King of Games content. Solid. He gives you when he's playing Stam Sork when it wasn't considered meta, when it wasn't considered viable. He's playing it, and he gives you an in-depth representation of his progression in the game. Right? You don't get that on YouTube, especially when it comes to PvP, and that's why. And he's real, and a lot of players aren't that way. They speak with forked tongues, and that's the transition I'll get to Abyss. So let's talk about Abyss, because I've like I said, I've never really contacted any of these people. I don't. That isn't to say I'm better or I'm above them in any particular way, but I'm a grown ass man, and you know, I just don't like to get into that kind of stuff, because it's in one respect it allows you to become a victim even though you were proactively being aggressive. So let's talk about Abyss, right? Abyss, I usually see Abyss in the sewers when I was in Imperial sewers, and I'm like, yeah, he's a good player, no issues with that. And then he got into some issues with Elusive Shady, and like I said, that was cool. They were going back and forth, and players were saying, well, this tank, this L2 or whatever it is a carry, and just remember that, and how it's, you know, and these players are being carried by just blocking and all this stuff, and people failed to realize. Hey, can you turn that down? People fail to realize that I'm doing a commentary and somebody's here, so I tell them, like, turn it down for a second. People fail to realize that ultimately no one wants to die in Cyrodiil, with an exception of me and a few other people. I take that back. But they were saying that the stuff that Elusive Shady and Abyss were running is, you know, it's a carry. And I never said anything. I saw it, and I said, hey, they're playing a certain way to fight these massive groups. You look at Elusive Shady's videos, he's out there trying to fight these massive groups, but players are saying it's a carry because of the 1v1s. The same 1v1s that they say don't matter, right? You have players who go into Cyrodiil with dueling bills trying to 1vx. Toxic Nebula is one of those players trying to 1vx, and that's not a knock to him. That's just how he does it. Another player, I mean, it's not a knock to him. Vanguard goes into with his Dragonite. That's a dueling build to 1vx. Roll'em Stones goes into, I don't know if I pronounced it right, goes into Cyrodiil with a 1vx build to solo. That's just the facts. Well, not the facts, but those are my opinions. So he contacted me when he was having issues with Elusive Shady, and my response to him is ignore it. If it doesn't affect you, you don't know these guys, ignore it. But you have to understand, Abyss has, I'm assuming he has like a degree. Right? He has a degree from higher education. And sometimes, and this is not a knock to him, there's a level of I'm you know, there has to be some solution to it because I have this and there has to be a talking around it. No, some people just don't want to deal with you, and they don't have to adhere to anything you have to say. They don't care. You can have a degree, you can have a master's like myself, or you know, or like I'm a perfect example. You know, I'm working on a PhD. Does that mean I now think everyone should feel should be beneath me, and my my opinion should matter. No, that's the thing with Abyss. You leave it alone. Do your thing and ignore what these people are saying about you. And the thing about King of Games, if anyone's looking at that, but I'll get to it. And so Abyss is, when they were saying it was a carry and he's defending himself, and I didn't say anything. Now these people are coming to my channel and saying, oh, this is a carry. And this has a lot to do with the change with Shuffle. A lot of players, like Heavy Stamplar, can't be done anymore because the snares is just too much. And so you're seeing a lot of these players who play Stamplar, like, really have an issue now. And they're more vocal with the things they say, right? They're more vocal with the things they say. They're not like Dove. I don't know why I keep using this guy. Dove is a perfect example. If you look at his clips, even though like some of the things that he says I completely disagree with, the guy heals through damage, knows when to burst, knows all of these things. Might run a little bit too much when it comes to like in an Xing situation. And that build is not even a 1vx build. The guy is Xing out here on a build that's suited for dueling. Right? Just keep that in mind. And yes, he might have had issues with the Warden's ultimate, but I mentioned that to him on stream. I said, yo, just leave it be, man. Like we're all in the same situation together anyway. These players, when they see us, they want to end us. They don't care about what we have on. They don't care about, Despotic is wearing Wizards Riposte. No, they don't care about that. They just care about the teabags. And a lot of players let that, like, they don't understand that concept. But I'll get back to this. So they think dueling is irrelevant. It doesn't really mean anything. But yet everything that happens in Cyrodiil, because I'm a solo player, applies to dueling. I did that video about Wizards Riposte, and 90% of the people who had issues with Wizards, they related it to a 1v1 situation, even though they're in Cyrodiil. And what that makes me believe is that when you run into a player in a 1v1 in Cyrodiil, because that player is situated for 1v1s, and you get mopped, you have an issue. You have an issue. Like I said, I haven't lost on a lot of my classes. A lot of these players who sitting here talking about dueling, like, me, jump, and I'm ready to fight you. That's how I am. I will fight for a while. That's how I operate. I enjoy dueling. I still think dueling has a place in this game. But let's get back to Abyss. So, Abyss, he'll come into the comment section and he doesn't know how to. He tries to come across as if he's neutral, but in the long run ends up as if he's just either glib or just not. He just lost all critical thinking approach when it comes to the concept. So if you look at the back and forth him and King had, right, and I will get into the back and forth because it started on my video. It was a long comment thread, and you'll realize he's still in the mindset of they're talking about this when in fact they just moved away from it and they just started joking. Elusive jumped in there, they all started joking, but he's still in this mindset of like, well, we're still talking about this. No, they are joking with you now. So it's up to you to switch it. And that's the thing about, that's why I like interacting with people in real life, because these nonverbal cues cannot be noticed online. And he didn't notice it. So King's brother and then King's girlfriend and then Elusive, they're cracking jokes on him. And instead of him just being like, man, whatever, man, he continues to go down the same line of reasoning when it no longer fits the circumstance. And that's the issue. King of Games said he was a pedophile and so on. So I took that to be he's being funny. He's making fun of that comment interaction. right? And a lot of people saw it that way. But of course, you know, people will now view it and blow it out of proportion. When you have these people, look at the comments they say, kill yourself. You need to do this. And now they're in an uproar because someone was making a joke that was originally on another thread. Now everyone, like, it's a federal offense. Abyss, you contacted me and I spoke to you. I sent you a message. You contacted me. I said, hey, join party. You didn't want to. And I said, if you have an issue with King, contact him, you know, and just hash it out. It's not really that big of a deal. And to those people who are sending you like these death threats and these messages, block them, because that's something that's completely idiotic, and it's no part. And those people are little kids. Those are the same, not little kids, because it could be an adult too. Those people don't know you, and they don't have your best interests at hand. No one knows who you are, really. Abyss Warrior does not have a name there associated with it. There's nothing there. We all go by these aliases, and you have to remember that. Continue to upload your content, because I think you have really good content. I watch your content. You have really good content, not like the rest of these people who do not have a critical thinking bone in their body. They miss the beat. They still believe expos and AIDS this and AIDS that is the way to go. And at the end of the day, look, this video could mean nothing. It can mean something. But I just want to point out, it's no longer about balance, because I've made countless videos about balance. I've already given my approach and my opinions about balance from years ago, right? And they're only now they're hopping on it because I stated ESO is in a good place. And I think it is. You no longer have these shuffle ready tanks. You don't have them in Cyrodiil. Or you don't have these heavy armor shuffle players, right? That's why you see like an influx of these Nightblades, and you see these clips and these massive damage output that they're giving, because you're seeing because Incap has an amazing, to me, I think Incap is the best ultimate in the game. Costs nothing, high damage. You know, it gives you Defile, which can be buffed by Befoul. You know, you get increased damage, and it's a low cost thing, and it can be canceled. It's an amazing ultimate. And that's why you see a lot of these players, they will just drop you with it. And, you know, I don't run into the issue because I'm a Templar. If you play the class well, especially if you're a Templar, it's a counter to a Nightblade. Just like a Magic DK is a counter to every single vampire out there. That's why I try to stay away from those guys. If I took off my vampirism, I'm almost certain I wouldn't lose to a DK. Magic DK, that is, unless it's one of those really good one and we might stalemate or what have you. But let's continue. So I don't think it's no longer about balance, and they will like you to believe that, because here's the test that I will say. If it's about balance, what you will now see is videos discussing in an in-depth or surface level how they view balance and what it should be. And then you'll see subsequent videos proving those things, right? Like the way I do things, right? Then you'll see that. But if you continue to see, because this is it, I've ignored everything. I don't really, if you see, well, Despotic said this, Despotic said that, King said this, King said that, and this is a carry, and this is so-and-so, then great. And, you know, the whole statement about Argonians being a carry. Come on, people. The biggest passive in that I think that should be removed is the disease passive. You don't understand how much of a counter that is to a lot of things going on. And players forget that. The disease, like that 45-second potion passive, it's not that big of a deal, because you can run into, I shouldn't say it's not that big of a deal, but you can find ways to counter. I run into Argonians all the time. I kill them all the time. No issues. Right? So hopefully this video kind of forces players to talk about balance. and not just focus on who knows who, and you're getting some notoriety, and you're getting an increase in your subscriber count. And this is, this is how they feel. They don't want to build it on their own. They want to have a scaffold, and the scaffold is either myself or King of Games or anyone they perceive to be a big YouTuber. I remember when they were coming after Vanguard. It's so funny, man. And to the people who leave comments, man, you guys should honestly be ashamed of yourselves. If you have nothing positive to say, don't say it. If you have something and it's constructive criticism, say it. That's what I welcome. But if your only take on it is, and the one thing I find very laughable is when you see someone attempting to be intellectual. You read what they're saying, and they're trying to be wordy, and then you see all these grammatical issues, and you just find out that they're just little kids who've yet to understand syntax. So just be careful if you're attempting to be wordy, but your grammatical issue, you have issues when it comes to grammar. Just say it, keep it short. And this is not a knock to anyone. I'm just saying don't try to be intellectual or come across as if you know something when in fact it's like way off. Like some players I've been reading some of the comments, man, because it comes through with my phone. I ignore all of them for the most part. Like they're talking about Argonians and they don't really know the passives of the Argonian, but yet they just hear it. Argonians are carry. It's a carry. It's a carry. Anyway, this is the one and only Despotic, and I will continue to bring you guys content that shows my progression in this game, and hopefully you guys will continue to watch. If not, then I'll be the guy out there that I continue to do what I do. Anyway, it's the one and only Despotic.